Okay, everybody, so our goal is to evaluate expressions that contain square root or radical symbols. If you look here, I have 4 expressions: square root of 36, square root of 289, square root of 4/9, and the square root of 49/100. And I want to find out what their value is on my own. I do not want to be using a calculator. I want to understand what this symbol means as an operation. The first thing you need to understand is the only time you can square root a number without using a calculator is you have to make sure that number is a perfect square. So it's very important in mathematics that when we're dealing with the operation square root, we know our numbers that are perfect squares. So in my classroom, I always make my class, first thing they do is write down the list of the perfect squares, which means you need to memorize it. So let's write it down together. 1 times 1 is 1, 2 times 2 is 4, 3 times 3 is 9, 4 times 4 is 16, 25, 36, 49, 64, 81, 100, 121, 144. And I would expect all of you to know the first 12 perfect squares because that comes off your 3rd grade times tables. So now here comes the fun. Let's continue the list. 13 times 13, 169. 14 times 14, 196. 15 times 15, 225. 16 times 16, 256. 17 times 17, 289. 18 times 18, 324. 19 times 19, 361. 20 times 20, 400. ... So it would be to your benefit, I know it's crazy, if you would memorize this list of perfect square numbers. Because now to perform the operation square root, it becomes very simple. First expression, I want to do the square root of 36. First question, is this radicand a perfect square? Yep, it is. It's on the list. I don't even have to think. If I just want to count, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's in the 6th position. That means the square root of 36 is the number 6. Now I want everybody to notate. When I perform the operation square root, the answer is a whole number. It doesn't have a square root symbol on it. And that's because you've done the operation. Think about 1st grade. If I ask you to add 2 plus 3, you just say the answer is 5. You don't write the plus sign again because you've already done the operation. If I say in 3rd grade, do 5 times 4 and you tell me the answer is 20, you don't write the multiplication symbol again because you've already done the operation. So it's very important. When I ask you to do the square root of 36, I'm asking you, give me a number times itself that makes 36. It's 6. I did the operation, the symbol is gone. Now, when I get to the square root of 289, you need to know that is a perfect square. If you're not exactly sure, count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. That's in the 17th position. That means 17 times 17 is 289. So the square root of 289 is 17. All right, now we have the dreaded fraction. Oh, I know what you were thinking. We were doing fractions. No, we're not. Just because we moved to a different module, we still have fractions. The important thing to note here is the square root symbol has the whole fraction in it. So we can rewrite this because I'm really asking you to do the square root of 4, the numerator, and I'm asking you to do the square root of 9, the denominator. So when a fraction is in a square root symbol, we're doing the square root to both. Well, what is the square root of 4? Well, that is a perfect square. What times itself is 4? 2. What is the square root of 9? What number times itself is 9? 1, 2, 3. Therefore, the square root of 4/9 is the fraction 2/3. See how easy that is? All right, let's deal with the decimal. Now, everybody's going to say, well, there's no decimal numbers in this perfect square list. Okay, it's okay. Think about it. This is 49 hundredths. If you want to rewrite it as a fraction, it is 49 over 100 because the 9 is in the hundred spot. If I rewrite it as a fraction, now I understand it. I'm doing the square root of 49, and I'm doing the square root of 100. What is the square root of 49? Well, 49 is on the list. It's a perfect square. That would be 7. What is the square root of 100? What number times itself is 100? Well, that's on the list. It's a perfect square, so that must be 10. Now, what happens is this answer is written in fraction form as a rational number. We can change any fraction into a decimal. If you read this, this says 7 out of 10, which is 7/10. We could write that as a decimal by putting the decimal point and putting 7 in the tenths position. So the square root of 49/100 is 7/10. Now, you could do this in your head really quickly. If you cover up the decimal point and just think that's 49, the square root of 49 is 7, but I have to put the decimal point in it, and it would be in the tenth spot. Because when I multiply decimals, 7/10 times 7/10, we've already discussed this. 7 times 7 is 49. Tenths times tenths is hundredths, and I'd have to put the decimal, so I have hundredths. And that's how you evaluate a square root as long as you have a perfect square number.